In the quiet heart of Umueze village, where the red earth carried the footprints of ancestors and the evening breeze smelled of roasted yam and wood smoke, there lived a man called Ozoemena and his wife Nkemdelem. For many seasons, their home echoed with silence. The gods had blessed them with wealth, farmlands, and strong bodies, but no child's cry ever filled their compound. Each year, Nkemdelem would tie a white cloth around her waist and go to the shrine of Ola, the earth goddess, begging for just one fruit from her womb. And one harmattan morning, when the hills wore a veil of fog, Ola heard her cry. A daughter was born. They named her Adanna, father's daughter, because from the first day, Ozoemena's heart beat only for her. He built her a cradle from the smoothest palm fronds. He sang to her under the moonlight until sleep carried her away. And when she took her first steps, the village women teased him, saying, "Ozoemena, are you the mother or the father?" He would only smile and say, "Both." For a child like Adanna, even the gods would bow. Adanna grew like the sun that never tires, bright, warm, and beloved. Her laughter could heal a tired heart. Her voice was like the sound of rain on new leaves. And the elders would often shake their heads, whispering that such beauty was not meant for this world. The gods love her too much, they said. And when the gods love a child too much, they take her early. Ozoemena would wave off their words. "Let the gods love her," he said. "She is mine. Flesh of my flesh." But one evening, when the moon rose pale and full, Adanna fell sick. It started like a whisper, a cough, a little fever, a sudden weakness in her small body. Then, as the nights passed, her laughter disappeared. The dibia came with chalk and herbs. He slaughtered a hen, poured libation, and murmured incantations. But the sickness only deepened. By the seventh night, when the moon hung low and the flute players gathered for the festival, Nkemdelem's scream tore through the air. Adanna was gone. Her small body was wrapped in white cloth and buried behind the mango tree, where butterflies loved to gather. Ozoemena sat by her grave for days, refusing food and drink. When people tried to console him, he said nothing. That night, the wind in Umueze carried strange sounds, the laughter of a little girl, faint but clear, floating through the trees. The villagers crossed themselves and shut their doors. "Adanna's spirit has refused to rest," they whispered. "The gods have called her, but her love for her parents holds her here." Years passed, and the pain faded, or so it seemed. Nkemdelem and Ozoemena grew old, their compound silent again except for the chirping of crickets. Yet sometimes, when the moon was full, they would hear tiny footsteps near the mango tree. Many miles away, in another village, Tumwala, across the river and through the hills, a young woman named Omarima appeared. No one knew much about her. She said she was the granddaughter of a woman who once lived there, and that she had returned to tend the old woman's farm and repair her hut. Her beauty stunned the village, her eyes like the morning dew, her laughter too familiar to the wind. The women gossiped. "She looks like someone I've seen before," one said. "Or, perhaps from the next town," another replied. "Or perhaps," an elder whispered, "from another life." Among those who noticed her was Obi, a strong young farmer known for his gentle spirit and stubborn heart. From the day he saw Omarima at the stream, with water glistening down her arms, something in him shifted. He began to visit her farm often, first pretending to pass by, then later coming openly with gifts of roasted plantain or kola nuts. Omarima, shy at first, soon warmed to him. Their laughter echoed through the palm grove, and before long, love wrapped them like morning mist. But one thing puzzled Obi. Whenever he asked where she came from, her answers changed slightly, never clear, never specific. "I'm from across the river," she would say. "From a neighboring village. I came to check on my grandmother's land." Months passed and she fell pregnant for him. "Please take me to see your people," Obi said softly, holding her hands. "You will," she replied. "After I have put to bed. The road is not safe for a pregnant woman." He smiled and agreed, though something in her eyes always left him uneasy, a faraway sadness, as if she carried more than one lifetime behind her smile. When her belly began to swell, the women of Umwala rejoiced. Obi built a small hut beside his father's compound, preparing for her to move in after the birth. He sent word to his kinsman that he would soon pay her bride price. But his father warned him. My son, know the roots of a tree before you tie your goat to it. Who are her people? Obi bowed his head. I will find out after the child comes. The months rolled by, and Omorima gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. The village women said it was a blessing, but the elders whispered among themselves. Twins are a double-edged gift, said one. They open doors to both the living and the spirits. Still, Obi was happy. He named the boy Obinna, father's heart, and the girl Adanna, her father's daughter. But after the naming ceremony, Obi's unease grew stronger. He begged again. Omorima, let me see your people, so I can pay your bride price. In Igbo land, a man's children belong to him only after he honors the woman's family. She smiled faintly and said, We will go soon. I promise. But let me first regain my strength. The moon waxed and waned. Months passed. Then, one cool morning, Omorima woke him with a soft touch. Obi, she said, it is time. We shall go to my father's house. Obi's heart leaped with joy. He packed kola nuts, palm wine, and yams for the journey. With the twins. They traveled through forests and rivers until they reached a lonely junction marked by an ancient tree. Birds sang above them, and the air grew strangely cold. Omorima stopped and pointed. My father's house is just beyond that path. Go ahead and greet him. Tell him from Adanna let me quickly call my best friend, she lives nearby. I will join you shortly. Obi nodded and walked toward the compound she showed him. He arrived at a quiet homestead where an old man and woman sat in the shade. When he greeted them and mentioned Adanna, the woman gasped, dropped the basket she held, and fell to the ground wailing. Villagers gathered. Obi, confused, helped lift her. Who did you say you came with? The old man asked, trembling. Omorima, your daughter, Obi replied. She told me this is her father's house. And I should say Adanna came with me, we have 2 children, twins. The old man's eyes widened. He whispered a name only his heart remembered. Adanna. Then he turned to the villagers. Our Adanna, the one we buried by the mango tree, she has returned. The wailing began. Women beat their chests. The best friend Omorima claimed she was going to call came running, her face white as chalk. She said she would come to me before her wedding, the friend cried. But Adanna died 10 years ago. Obi staggered back. No, she is alive. We have children together. But Omorima was nowhere to be found. He searched the junction, the path, the forest, only the sound of wind answered. On the ground where she had stood, there was nothing but a folded piece of white cloth and 2 small footprints that faded into dust. When the chief priest arrived, he looked upon the crying parents, the terrified Obi, and the silent crowd. He lifted his staff and spoke. The child the gods loved too much could not rest. She returned to heal her mother's sorrow and to bless her father's house with life once more. These twins are the gift she left behind, her spirit's peace, her parents' comfort. Let no one call them evil. He turned to Obi. Go home, son of Omwala. The dead cannot be your wife. But the living, these children, are yours to honor. But Obi could not stay. The fear of what he had seen was greater than his love. He left the twins with Adanna's parents and vanished into the hills, never to return. That night, under the mango tree, Kemdelim held the twins close as fireflies danced around them. She looked at the stars and whispered. My child, you came back after all. The wind moved softly through the leaves, almost like a laugh, the same laugh they once knew. And though no one saw her again, some nights, when the moon was bright, villagers swore they could see a woman in white walking near the mango tree, smiling down at 2 sleeping children. In Umueze, the season of mourning had ended, yet the air still carried Adanna's memory like a fragrance that refused to fade. The twins she left behind, Obinna and Adanna, became the heartbeat of her parents' home. Old Ozoemena and Kemdelim clung to them as if the gods had offered a second chance to breathe. The villagers said the twins were no ordinary children, for when they laughed, birds gathered on the mango tree, and when they cried, the wind rose suddenly, rattling every window. The elders whispered. Those are not ordinary tears. They are the echo of their mother's soul. But Ozoemena would simply smile and say, let them cry or laugh as they wish. Their mother came through them, and as long as they live, she lives too. The twins grew fast, quicker than any child in Umueze. By their third season, they spoke clearly. By their fifth, they could sing songs that no one had ever taught them. One morning, as Nkemdelim fetched water from the clay pot, she heard her granddaughter Adanna humming. It was a lullaby, the same lullaby she had sung to Adanna 20 years ago, the one only the two of them knew. Her hands trembled. Adanna, who taught you that song? The girl looked up with eyes too old for her age. Mama says you used to sing it when I was little, she answered. Nkemdelim dropped the pot, it shattered on the floor. Which mama? The girl smiled. My mama. She comes at night. She sits by my bed and braids my hair. Nkemdelim screamed. Ozoemena came running, but when they searched, there was nothing, only the faint smell of the perfume Adanna used to wear. That night, Ozoemena poured libation and prayed to the gods. He begged them to let his daughter's spirit rest. But the wind that rose after his prayer carried the faint sound of a woman's laughter, soft, sweet, and far away. News of the spirit twins spread across neighboring villages. Some came with gifts, others came to stare in silence. One man said, I saw the girl by the stream. She was speaking to her reflection as if to someone else. Another whispered. They say the boy speaks in his sleep, in tongues no one understands. Soon, fear mixed with curiosity. Mothers began to pull their children away from the twins. Some elders suggested they be taken to the chief priest, to cleanse the land of their strange power. But Ozoemena stood before the council and said, They are my daughter's blood. If the gods give them to us, let them be. The chief priest only nodded slowly. What the gods give, no man can reject, he said. But remember, every gift from the spirit world comes with a price. One season later, a stranger entered Umueze. He was thin, his beard unkempt, his eyes sunken from years of wandering. It was Obi, the man who had loved Adanna's spirit and fathered her children. He stood by the mango tree, trembling. When Nkemdelim saw him, she froze. Then, with tears in her eyes, she said, So you have returned at last. Obi fell to his knees. Mama, forgive me. I was afraid. I thought I had married a ghost. But the memory of her, of our love, never left me. Ozoemena placed a hand on his shoulder. You are welcome, son of Omwola. The children are growing strong. Perhaps your coming was meant by the gods. But not everyone agreed. The villagers whispered. How can a man return to claim what he made with a spirit? If the gods were silent, perhaps they waited for him to suffer first. That night, when Obi met the twins, the boy clung to him immediately. Papa, Obina said softly, though he had never seen him before. And the girl, Adanna, only smiled and whispered. Mama said you would come. Obi's heart broke. He stayed with them for a few days, helping in the farm, telling stories by the fire. But each night, he dreamt of Adanna, her white wrapper glowing in the darkness, her eyes full of sorrow. Take care of them, she would whisper. They must not return the way I did. By the seventh night, Obi could not sleep again. He rose before dawn, left a basket of cowries by the children's bedside, and vanished before the sun rose. When Nkemdelim found the cowries, she knew. The living cannot hold what belongs to both worlds, she said quietly. As the twins reached their 7th year, strange things began to happen. Crops failed around the compound, goats gave birth to still kids, and one morning, Ozoemena woke to find all the family's yam barns covered with white chalk symbols. Fear spread through Umueze. Some accused the twins of being Ogbanj, spirit children who come and go at will. Others said they were the gods' messengers, not to be harmed. Finally, the council sent for Dibia Onwukwi, the oldest priest in the region. He came walking slowly with a staff carved with cowries and feathers, his eyes white with cataracts. He looked at the twins for a long time, then said, These are not Ogbanj. They are bridges between the living and the dead. Their mother spirit lingers because her death was not meant to be. The gods took her too soon. Through these two, she seeks balance. He turned to Ozoemena. But the bond that ties the living and the spirit must one day break, either through sacrifice or sorrow. Ozoemena bowed his head. Tell us what must be done. The Dibia replied. When the twins reach their 12th year, one must walk to the river at dawn and leave there a pot of palm oil, 2 kola nuts, and a white hen. If the hen drinks from the river, the bond will break peacefully. If it does not, the mother will return to claim what is hers. Time moved like a patient drumbeat. The twins grew taller, stronger, and wiser than their age. Obinna became a skilled hunter, Adanna, a gifted storyteller. But beneath their laughter, a shadow waited. When the 12th year arrived, Ozoemena prepared the sacrifice exactly as the Dibia instructed. Before dawn, he and the twins walked toward Izayaku River, the same river where Adanna had played as a child. The mist was thick, and the world felt hushed. They set down the pot of palm oil and the 2 kola nuts. Ozoemena released the white hen into the water. The hen dipped its beak once, twice, and then started drinking hungrily. Nkemdelim sighed in relief. The twins stood frozen, staring at the ripple spreading across the surface. A sudden gust of wind rose from the river, carrying a woman's voice, soft, echoing, familiar. My children. Adanna fell to her knees. Mama. Ozoemena dropped his staff. His eyes filled with tears as the water shimmered, forming the faint outline of a woman in white. She smiled sadly. I've come to stay goodbye. Please take care of my parents, be kind and love them like I did. She waved and disappeared. Nkemdelim hugged the twins tight, weeping and thanking the gods for sparing them. Back home they threw a party and the villagers came to marry with them. When the chief priest came to perform final rites, he spoke softly to the grieving parents. Ozoemena, Nkemdelim, your daughter was chosen. Her love broke the boundary between worlds. The twins were not a curse but a covenant, to remind us that love, even in death, carries power the gods themselves cannot explain.